Well, for a closer look then at this story, we're going to cross now to Aaron Czyzewski, Director of Advocacy and Public Policy at Food Lifeline, which is based in Seattle. Aaron, I know you've gotten up very, very early to join us today, so thank you very much for that. Now, if I'm correct, you've been working at Food Lifeline for close to a decade now. Have you ever seen anything like this before? I mean, can you remember a time in recent history when Americans reliant on food aid were more vulnerable?
Well, yes, and that was because I was around for the first Trump administration. That's when I started hunger relief work, and at the time it felt like we were fighting our own government just to try to get the most basic needs for people.
So if this is not necessarily the worst that you've seen, I mean, how does it compare? What makes this time around different, if anything, really?
Well, this time is it right now feels very similar to the pandemic. And the problem now is that unlike the pandemic, instead of the federal government coming to help, the federal government is actually running away and taking billions, if not trillions of dollars out of the social safety net.
So who are the people that are seeking food aid in your region, perhaps more generally beneficiaries of SNAP in general? And in my understanding, I mean, people who rely most on it are amongst the most vulnerable populations in the world, in the country, obviously the unemployed, the elderly, the disabled. Can you tell us more about the profile of beneficiaries?
It's actually now a lot of people, and so it's certainly people in vulnerable situations, but it reaches higher. So, for instance, in Washington State last year, the agencies that we serve we're a food bank distribution center, so we serve agencies all across Western Washington, so half of the state. Last year, those agencies reported serving 2.4 million people for a total of 16 million visits, and that was 5 million more than the year before. So the hunger problem is actually reaching a lot of people.
Concretely, what do you think the delays in these SNAP benefits will mean? What do those who rely on them risk seeing happen in the coming days and then in the more midterm?
Two things. There's a lot of uncertainty, and so that's a real big problem. And the second is that federal nutrition programs have traditionally been the first line of defense against hunger. Now the charitable hunger relief system is needing to be that first line of defense. The problem with that is that we've been experiencing high levels of food insecurity for so long that we can't keep up with the overwhelming demand. So now when you add additional people needing to turn to charity for help, there's just not enough food to go around.
So does this mean that you cannot count on the help of any government officials in this situation? Is the only alternative at this stage non-governmental entities?
Pretty much. The problem we find ourselves in, again, is the federal government is not dependable for help during this time. In fact, the federal government is still shut down. Our state government doesn't come into legislative session until January, so there's little action that they could take. Our governor of Washington, Bob Ferguson, has stepped in and has tried to find some emergency funding, but that emergency funding was contingent on whether or not the SNAP payments would be available. And again, that's up in the air. So this uncertainty has made it so that it's really difficult to predict where and if additional help is going to be available. We are turning to people and communities to donate generously. It's what helped us get through the pandemic, and certainly is what is needed now.
So I imagine volunteers then also play a huge role in these alternative operations, so to speak. I mean, is that reliance on volunteers in small local communities, is it sustainable given the fact that there's still no end in sight at all, really, to this crisis?
Yeah, I think it is sustainable, and in fact, it's a beautiful thing, and it's really what helped us get through tough times before. So people relying on their neighbors is really a powerful thing. And again, it's really unfortunate that we're in this situation. It's unfortunate that food insecurity is as high as it is right now. But I'm pretty convinced that, like in other difficult times, that people will stick together and help each other out and help us get through this difficult time.
As a final question for you, Aaron, the shutdown, of course, is ongoing. Again, still no end in sight in what's become a familiar kind of bickering. Both Republicans and Democrats blame each other for the current state of affairs. That's to say, millions of Americans risking serious food insecurity. In your view, having worked in this field for quite some time now, to who do you attribute the blame this time around?
Well, we need to depoliticize hunger for sure. Right now, it's Republicans in Congress and the Trump administration that are introducing these disruptions to not only food security but also other areas throughout the social safety net. So it's pretty clear at this point where the problem is coming from.
Aaron Czyzewski, Director of Advocacy and Public Policy at Food Lifeline in Seattle. Thank you very much for joining us today.